Hi everybody, Rechief here, and welcome back to another thrilling episode of Ace Attorney Investigations, Miles, Edgeworth, Prosecutor's Path, episodes 1 through 5, beta. Before we begin, I do have a confession to make. I got a little stuck during this part of the investigation phase, and I did consult a walkthrough to give myself a hint as to what to do next. And it's something that never would have occurred to me, so I don't feel too guilty about that. You have to go in here, and you have to compare this tablecloth with the sketch of beauties that you now have, or that we now have, in our evidence collection, because if you look very closely, you'll see that the tablecloth that Larry sketched is a different color from what it is presently. Never would have even occurred to me to make that comparison, so let's make a deduction right now. Yes, Edgeworth, this spot is somehow connected to some of the evidence you hold. It's this fucking thing. Larry, there's something I want to ask you about your sketch.
Huh? You want a lecture on sketching from the famed Professor Maurice, do ya?
No. I just need to ask you something. The tablecloth in your sketch, are you sure it was light blue?
Yeah, my eyes never fail me.
But the one on the service cart here is white, isn't it?
Dude.
You know, I haven't been sure how I felt about my Larry Butts voice that I chose for this playthrough until this moment. That line has really made me feel like I've kind of redeemed myself. Good.
You're always so busy thinking with just your head that you miss the obvious.
What's with that look on your face?
When I drew that painting, I was using the cart with the T set on it, remember? Because I was tidying up the broken pottery shards.
That's not something to be proud of.
And right then, Katie came out of the Winter Palace. I had to hurry and hide the broken teapot so that she wouldn't notice it.
Did you just say Miss Hall came out of the Winter Palace?
That's right, but this time she was pushing another service cart, and the tablecloth was light blue just like how I drew it.
What did she do with that service cart?
Beats me. She went into the Summer Palace with it, so I don't know. And when she came out, she was pushing the lift trolley.
The lift trolley?
When I called out to her, she was so surprised that she just left it there. She's so cute when she's shy.
A second service cart and a lift trolley. Maybe there were 2 tea sets along with the 2 service carts. We'll have to verify it with Miss Hall. Now we're getting somewhere. What's going on, Katie H? Is it true you keep 2 service carts on the premises? Yes. Is there something wrong? Earlier I was looking at one of the sketches from that so-called artist, and I noticed that he'd drawn the cart's tablecloth light blue. Light blue? Are you sure you weren't mistaken, monsieur? I only ever use tablecloths that are pure white. That's true. The tablecloth here doesn't have a single spot on it. Yes, that's because I always change them immediately whenever they get dirty. Did Larry really get the color wrong then? What were you doing when this sketch was drawn? At that time, I was just doing my job as usual. Then could you tell me exactly what that work entails? What were you doing when you were drawn in this sketch? From the looks of the drawing, it doesn't seem like you were transporting the tea set. This was when I was delivering chocolates to other people in the investigation. Ah, how nice. Chocolates. I wish I could have gotten some too. There are still a few left, so please eat these then. I made them myself, so it's possible they might not suit your taste. Woohoo! Thank you so much. Thank you. Perhaps it's because she had them in her pocket, but it looks like they've melted a bit. Chocolate's data jotted down in my organizer. The sweet goodness! I'm happy to hear you say that. These chocolates are a little misshapen, but I'm glad to get some sugar into my system. Although they're a little too sweet for my taste. There we go. That's better. Real talk, this is the third time that I've tried to record this episode, because the other 2 times were me just like banging my head against a wall for 15 minutes. And that's not compelling viewing here on youtube.com/rechief. I don't know if that's how the URLs work for channels. Anyway. Oh, I didn't read what he said. Now all that's left is to do something, I don't know. Oh, I'm good at this.
April 2nd, 2:33 p.m. Zodiac Art Gallery, Fountain Patio. I have a report. We have detected traces of normalium from the teapot. You can't be serious.
It's just like Mr. Edgeworth said.
Darn it! Did Mr. Edgeworth take the title of the best from me again?
Mr. the Best, it seems like you have an obsession about being the best. But when you're on a case, winning and losing is of no importance.
What are you saying? Obviously, it's best to be the best at everything.
If you can't understand that, then you have no business being a prosecutor.
What?
Please stop harassing Sebastian. Sebastian, a person of your caliber has no need to listen to such things.
Justine, yeah, you're right.
Please leave this to me. Why don't you go check on the victim's condition?
Yeah, that's a great idea. I'll be right back then.
All right, I'll be waiting. Judge Courtney is much more troublesome than Mr. DeBest. Well then. Miss Curator, can you tell us why normalium was discovered in the teapot? I was not aware that it contained such a chemical. I suppose it may have been an ingredient from the detergent I had used. So you're saying that you did not put it in deliberately? No, of course not. There is no way for me to have known how to create the poison gas. Oh, yes, there is. Despite being a former actress, it seems you're not very good at lying. What do you mean? The angel's recipe is in your possession, and the method to create the poison gas is contained inside that recipe book. So you must have known how to create it. I'm surprised you know about that. Miss Curator, is this true? It's true that information about the poison gas is contained in one of the recipes. However, just because I saw it does not mean that I was responsible for the crime. Could you tell me what set off the poison gas? It was caused by the victim heating the liquid of the gas case with a burner. I see. If he locked himself in that room of his own will and then set off the poison gas, wouldn't that suggest suicide? Does she intend to deny it until the bitter end? Furthermore, I wouldn't have been able to obtain a chemical like Megatoxin X. That may be true, but you could have stolen it from someone else. That reminds me, I met up with Kate a week ago and that night was when I realized that my Megatoxin X was gone. Katie, you couldn't have. Madame Delicia always carried her medicine bag around with her. Anyone could have stolen it. That's right. I don't have any proof that she was the one who stole it. Kate, can't you tell us what you're hiding? I know you're not the kind of person who would hurt someone without a reason. Monsieur Shields, you doubt me as well? Setting a trap on one of the gallery's exhibits, and then disguising the rooms. I just think it would have been impossible for anyone but the curator. That's not true. There are no guards or security cameras at this gallery. If any ill-intentioned person wanted to sneak into the gallery, it would have been an easy task for them. Then, isn't it like an all-you-can-steal buffet in here? You have to be careful. You never know when a great thief could appear. It doesn't sound like a joke when Kay says it. Actually, Monsieur Gustavia apparently entered the gallery before it opened. Well, I'm beat. Looks like Uncle Ray can't do anything to break down Kate's iron guard. This might be a good time to use the technique your old man taught me. The technique my father taught you? This case is deeply connected to the one from 18 years ago. If we just pursue the present case, it may seem like there's a lot we don't understand. But if we try turning things around, there might be a hint in the case from the past. Thinking the other way around, did my father do that too? For example, just consider the relationship between the past case and Kate. Miss Hall melted Mr. Dover's sherbet sculpture 18 years ago. And today, Mr. Dover's works are on display in this gallery. It can't be she. I see. Now I know what to ask her. That's good to hear. In that case, Uncle Ray will just watch over you as you do your work. Miss Catherine Hall, 18 years ago it seems that you melted Mr. Dover's sherbet sculptures. Yes, I was young and inexperienced and I did something inexcusable. However, isn't that why you were able to open the Zodiac Art Gallery? I don't know what you mean. I don't understand either. Prosecutor Edgeworth, do you seek her testimony? Yes, I would like her to tell me about the Zodiac Art Gallery. I would like to know the reason you decided to open a gallery for Mr. Dover's artwork. If you insist that this is related to the case at hand, I will allow it. Miss Curator, your testimony, if you please. Very well, if that will clear your suspicions about me. Now then, please testify about the Zodiac Art Gallery. "18 years after Monsieur Master was arrested, I was finally able to buy back this mansion. Then, in order to maintain it, I decided to manage it as an art gallery. I collected Pierre Hoquet's works from all over the world. After all, it was my dream to open the Zodiac Art Gallery." It's wonderful that your dream has come true. What do you think, Prosecutor Edgeworth? I don't believe there was anything strange about her testimony. Judge Courtney, I believe in the courtroom it is standard to cross-examine the witness. Wouldn't you agree it's a little too early to say that there are no contradictions? You speak like a defense attorney. Very well. Proceed as you please. Proceed as you please. All right. Let's press. 18 years after Monsieur Master was arrested, I was finally able to buy back this mansion.
Hold it!
It must have taken a lot of hard work these past 18 years to buy back the mansion. The place full of my memories with Monsieur Master. It is the only place for me. No matter what, at any cost, I wanted it back. She looks like she's having fun. Well, she is a former actress. Singing and dancing is her livelihood. Enough with the singing. Please continue your testimony. Then, in order to maintain it, I decided to manage it as an art gallery. Are you managing this gallery by yourself? Yes. Well, I say manage, but it only opened today. And I must continue protecting this mansion, so that Monsieur Master has a place to return to. So she took back the mansion for Mr. Masters' sake. Kate, I'm so sorry. I was powerless. It's not your fault, Monsieur Shields. I couldn't do anything either. All I can do now is continue to protect the mansion. I collected Pierre Roquette's works from all over the world. Pierre Roquette? That's Mr. Dover's alias, correct? Yes, it's the name he used when he worked as a sculptor in France. About collecting his works. How did you prepare the Taurus and Gemini sculptures? I heard that Mr. Dover passed away before he completed those two sculptures. I had the sculptures in the Winter Palace specially made based on the photos I took. Oh, could you tell us about that in more detail? After all, it was my dream to open the Zodiac Art Gallery. Opening the Zodiac Art Gallery was your dream? The truth is, I wanted to manage the gallery together with Monsieur Master. Oh, are we singing again? Singing and dancing and all kinds of sweets. That's the kind of gallery I dreamed about. Was she planning on staging a musical in here? That's what I want to know. Geoffrey Master disobeyed the goddess of law. It is unfortunate, but I am afraid that your dream will never come to pass. No, Monsieur Master is innocent. The prosecutor at the time did not believe it, but... In order to protect Catherine Hall, Geoffrey Master gave a false confession. They were both trying to protect each other. I prepared replicas of the sculptures in the Winter Palace based on the photos I took. By photos, do you mean the ones taken in Isaac Dover's room? Yes, you seem quite familiar with the events from 18 years ago, Monsieur Edgeworth. So the sculptures in the Winter Palace were replicas. They melted and I didn't even get to see them once. No, the sherbet sculptures shouldn't have been replicas. Miss Hall is obviously lying. After all that trouble it took to prepare them, it's a shame they melted. The sculptures in the Winter Palace are the same sherbet sculptures from 18 years ago. Unless I point that out to her, I won't be able to find out the truth. Okay. Okay. Sounds like we gotta present some evidence about some sculptures. Well, I feel like it's got to be either the Pisces sketch or the Winter Palace photo. It's not this one. Take a look at this piece of evidence. In that case, would you take a look at my dance too? No. Dancing doesn't have anything to do with what we're talking about. But can't the same be said about what you've just said, Monsieur Edgeworth? Shall I return to my story? Harsh. Oh, okay. There we go. That's better. Did you really think that your excuses would continue to hold up? No matter how much you lie, you can't deny the composition of the sculptures. From the analysis results, it's quite clear that the sculptures in the Winter Palace are the sherbet sculptures Mr. Dover created. Oi, Miley, as a pharmacist, it's my turn to shine. What we call sugar actually comes in many different varieties and tastes. Even if the sculptures were replicas, it's nearly impossible to replicate the composition. I see. Thank you for the explanation, though I don't recall asking for one. That, Miss Hall, means you couldn't have melted the sherbet sculptures back then. You stole them and preserved them for 18 years. Ah! What? She preserved the sherbet for 18 whole years? If you freeze it properly, it's not impossible. Silence, please. Miss Curator, what do you have to say? I can't believe you've already uncovered so much. So you're admitting that you stole the sherbet sculptures? No, I cannot admit to such a thing. There isn't any proof that I stole them after all. Also, I couldn't have stolen the sculptures 18 years ago. I don't think they would have been easy to steal without the police noticing. Is that so? I don't know what you did 18 years ago. As such, how can I judge how difficult it would have been to steal them? It looks like you won't give up so easily. I don't intend on giving up until I learn the truth. I understand. Then I shall tell you what I did 18 years ago. Oh, snap. On the day of the incident, I was waiting in the main building until the judging. During the judging, at Monsieur Masters' request, I went to change the film in the camera. But before I could deliver the camera to him, I discovered Monsieur Dover's body. After Monsieur Gregory arrived, I prepared tea for everyone involved in the investigation. It was then that I witnessed Monsieur Gustavia entering Monsieur Dover's room. And that was everything I had done on that day. I don't think there is anything suspicious about my actions. That's not your decision to make. Mr. Edgeworth, were there any contradictions in her testimony? For now, I should just prove that she stole the sculptures. But when could Miss Hall have stolen them? If I can answer that, her crimes should come to light. Okay. On that day of the incident, I was waiting in the main building until the judging. What were you doing before the judging began? I was in my room on the second floor, practicing my dancing. I was performing on the TV show Piece of Cake back then. Piece of Cake? What kind of show was that? It was a children's program. The hosts made sweets while singing and dancing. Oh, that sounds like fun! Well, that's unexpected. You knew about the show, Miles? My father told me about it once, so I just happened to watch it a few times. So Miss Hall was practicing her dancing in her room. Could Miss Hall have stolen the sculptures then? I'm gonna say no for right now. It couldn't have been then. I should listen to more of her testimony. During the judging at Monsieur Masters' request, I went to change the film in the camera. So, you were the only one who could move freely during the judging period. I certainly would have had more freedom to move about than the contestants. However, I couldn't possibly have stolen the sculptures right in front of Monsieur Master. Moreover, upon being asked to change the film, I went directly to the entryway. At Mr. Masters' request, she went to change the film in the camera. Could Miss Hall have stolen the sculptures then? No. Okay, so I kind of see what we're doing here. Okay, or I could discover Monsieur Dover's body. Prepared tea for everyone involved in the investigation. It was then that I witnessed Monsieur Gustavia entering Monsieur Dover's room. Well, let's keep pressing for now, see what we come up with. So you entered Mr. Masters' room before you delivered the camera? Yes, I heard the sound of something breaking, you see. Monsieur Master, are you in here? Oh! That was actually the sound of the ship breaking. Someone snuck a bite of it, you see. When the body was discovered, was Mr. Master still judging Mr. Gustavia's room? I am sure that he was. Monsieur Master is the type of person who would carefully judge one room at a time. She found Mr. Dover's body inside Mr. Masters' room. Could Miss Hall have stolen the sculptures then? I'm just going to say it couldn't have been then for each of these, and then I'm going to kind of come back to it. After Monsieur Gregory arrived, I prepared tea for everyone involved in the investigation. Did you do so in the same manner as today? Yes, I poured tea for everyone working on the investigation. Now that you mention it, Uncle Ray also got some tea from you that day. Kate was pushing a service cart back and forth from the patio to the main building. Aha! I think this might be it. I see. Did anything seem strange to you then? Well, I remember your old man singing praises of a saline tea. And he also said something about how the saucer was chilled. Uh-huh. The saucer was chilled? Could Miss Hall have stolen the sculptures then? Okay, we're going to try this. This was when you stole the sherbet sculptures. I'm sorry, but Monsieur Shields and company were at the fountain patio the entire time. Are you saying that I stole them in broad daylight? That's precisely what I'm saying. This is where she hid the sculptures to steal them right under their noses.
Take that!
Neither my father nor Mr. Shields realized the sculpture was right in front of them. What you were pushing around was no ordinary service cart. It was the sculpture itself. Ah! But surely that would still be impossible. If she placed the sculptures on the service cart, people would notice immediately. I never said she used the service cart to move the sculptures. What? What do you mean? Then what did she use to move the sculptures around? This is what Miss Hall used to transport the sculptures. It feels so good when you know exactly what to present, like several times in a row. And this is... This is the lift trolley Mr. Dover used 18 years ago to move his sherbet sculptures. It seems this same lift trolley lies here in the fountain patio. That's because it was originally prepared for the contest in the first place. Are you saying she used the lift trolley to move the sculptures? Yes. If the sculptures were placed on this lift trolley and then covered with the tablecloth, it could be disguised as a service cart and moved without arousing suspicion. How could that be? So the saucers were chilled because they were sitting on the ice sculptures. Kate, what's the meaning of this? What were you thinking? That was truly impressive. You certainly are Monsieur Gregory's son. After 18 years, it's hard to imagine any proof that I stole the sculptures remained. But I knew it was only a matter of time until I was suspected. Miss Curator, does this mean you admit to stealing the sculptures? Yes, I admit it. 18 years ago I stole the sherbet sculptures from Monsieur Dover's room. It's just as Monsieur Edgeworth says. I disguised the lift trolley as a service cart. And I served tea as I made my way back and forth. That wasn't all. I also took the ice block with all the star clusters on it. An ice block with star clusters on it? That seems familiar. Oh yeah. A giant block of ice is being displayed here. It appears to be quite heavy. No, the inside must be hollow. The Winter Palace is a reproduction of Mr. Dover's room from 18 years ago. Because they had melted, my father never got the chance to see them. But those blocks of ice were also originally from Dover's Sherbet Salon. The 2 sculptures and the 2 blocks of ice, I took everything I could. And then I placed empty glass cases in Monsieur Dover's room. The sculptures were all encased in glass to preserve their fine details. But the ice blocks were being displayed as they were. As per the rules, we prepared the glass cases for Mr. Dover. So it would have been easy for her to prepare the glass cases. In Monsieur Dover's room, there were some sculptures that were still unfinished. I thought if I melted them, it would look like the ones I stole had melted too. So, everything you see in the Winter Palace are all original works from 18 years ago. Miss Hall, it didn't take much to get her to confess. Then she must know. She knows it isn't enough to try her in court. That is all I have to say. But, even though I admit to stealing the sculptures, you can't arrest me for it. What? What do you mean by that? Heavens. You're assisting an investigation without knowing this much? Perhaps you should read this book concerning the statute of limitations. Look at the cover art for that book. First of all, it's great that there's a whole book about the statute of limitations. Second of all, it's great that this is clearly like the children's version of this book that Justine has been teaching Sebastian out of. Like, this is how the statute of limitations works. It seems like that's the best system for making sure that people aren't tried unfairly. It's got like pictures in it of cats. Anyway. Statute of limitations? Statute of limitations data jotted down in my organizer. To put it simply, it's the time frame in which a suspect can be taken to court. Let's look at the statute of limitations in my organizer. Okay. Murder, 15 years. Theft, 7 years. If the suspect flees to or lives in a foreign country, the time limit is on hold until the suspect returns. If possible accomplices are on trial, the countdown is stopped until the verdict is reached, then resumes. If charges are pressed to demand compensation, the statute is frozen for the length of that procedure. Okay. You can see it on this page. Oh. Well, okay. The statute of limitations for murder is 15 years, and for theft it's 7 years. That's right. And Miss Hall's theft was 18 years ago. According to this statute, she cannot be arrested for stealing the sculptures. So that's how it is. Stealing evidence from a crime scene is an unforgivable offense. However, for this crime at least, we have no right to pass judgment. It appears that Prosecutor Edgeworth's tepid reasoning has all been for naught. I wonder about that. I deduced Miss Hall's actions simply to expose a different crime. If she only took the sculptures, we wouldn't have found the body from 18 years ago. Are you saying that I hid Monsieur Dover's body? That's correct. But how can someone hide a body for 18 years? I would imagine it would be very difficult under normal circumstances. So you're saying the circumstances weren't normal? Are you claiming that you know where the body was hidden?
When you consider Miss Hall's actions, the answer becomes obvious.
18 years ago, Miss Hall stole something more than just sherbet sculptures. If you're so confident, I would like to hear your answer. Where did Miss Hall hide the body? Okay. Okay. I have to guess that it's in one of these because otherwise they wouldn't have been able to. She wouldn't have been able to preserve it so well. She wouldn't have been able to preserve it so well. I'm having a little trouble talking today. Thanks for bearing with me, guys. This is the photograph of Mr. Dover's sculptures. Yes, and perhaps you've noticed that the victim's body can be seen in this picture. I do not see it. Please point it out clearly. Where in this picture can one see the body of the victim? It's time to expose the location of the body in the photograph. The Gemini sculpture. Yes. While it may look like the Gemini sculpture at first glance, in reality this is none other than Isaac Dover himself. This ice sculpture was the victim's body? But all I can see from this picture is an ice sculpture statue. That's because a certain piece of evidence was used to conceal it. Conceal it? Which piece of evidence did Ms. Hall use to conceal the body? I'm gonna guess fluorescent cloth. Take that! This is the cloth that was covering the sculptures in the Autumn Palace. This cloth manipulates light. With it, it's entirely possible to make something look like ice. Isn't that right, Delicia? Yesy! When it glows red, it's like a raging inferno. And when it glows blue, you can almost feel the glittering cool ice. That cloth will only emit light when it's attached to a special device. Judge Courtney, look closely at the picture one more time. Beneath the Gemini case lies a box-shaped object attached to the pedestal. This is a rainbow light device. Detective Gumshoe reported one in the Winter Palace. This is the device that went missing 18 years ago. Originally, it would have been attached to the cloth inside the glass inside the glass case. Naturally, Ms. Hall took the device with her when she moved the sculptures. By using the rainbow light device to make the fluorescent cloth glow, Mr. Dover's body was made to look like an ice sculpture. That's ridiculous. So then, when Uncle Ray took a photo at a Winter Palace, that's right, the body had been in front of us all along, disguised as Gemini. However, the body and the fluorescent cloth were both discovered in the fountain. If the ice sculpture was the body, we would have found it in the Winter Palace. If we had found it there, her trick would have been revealed immediately. Ms. Hall moved the body out of the Winter Palace to prevent us from discovering it. Absurd. You say she threw the body into the fountain without any of us noticing? No, Judge Courtney. There was no need for that. She simply used the same method as before. Remember the lift trolley? She moved the body to some other room and dumped it into the stream to the fountain. Naturally, the frozen body would have sunk to the bottom of the fountain. That's why the cloth floated up first, and was found by Delicia. And eventually, the body thawed out and floated to the surface. Monsieur Edgeworth, you truly have a gift for deductive reasoning. However, do you have any proof that I moved the body? If you cannot prove that, then there is no way I can accept what you are saying. Wasn't there anyone who saw Miss Hall move the body? Yes, I believe such a person exists. The answers lie in the evidence that person gave me, and that piece of evidence will reveal the truth of Miss Hall's actions. Prosecutor Edgeworth, are you able to prove the crime of Ms. Curator? Certainly. I have evidence that will show exactly what she did. Then, it's time we see your answer. Which piece of evidence reveals Ms. Curator's actions? Ah. Okay, I think there's a good chance that it's that. I think it's either that or the Sketch of Beauties, and it would be weird if we had to present this, like, twice that quickly. Let's try the Pisces sketch first.
Take that!
Just by looking at this, you should be able to understand. Let it enlighten you. Overruled! No! Why are you... I thought it'd be less embarrassing if I was the one to say it. But, well, you can't really show what Miss Hall was doing with that, you know? I suppose not. I should present something else. Let us hear your answer one more time. Which piece of evidence reveals Ms. Curator's actions?
Take that!
There we go. Another sketch. Oh, it appears I have been drawn in this one. This is a sketch Larry drew of the women at the fountain patio. I would like to direct your attention to the service cart on the left side of the sketch. Service cart? What about it? Don't you see? What transpired 18 years ago has happened again. Miss Hall was moving the body in this sketch. No. Please wait. I don't see Monsieur Dover's body anywhere in that drawing. All I did was hand out chocolates to everyone. The key detail in this sketch is the color of the tablecloth. Up until now, I thought Larry had just made a mistake. The tablecloth. It's light blue. Oh, I see. It may be light blue in the sketch, but no blue tablecloth exists in this mansion. Perhaps it's light blue because the body was hidden, still glowing, underneath the tablecloth. What? But the lift trolley is rectangular in the sketch. If she just placed the body in the lift trolley, we would have noticed it immediately. There were 2 blocks of ice in the Winter Palace that are completely hollowed out. If she put the body inside the block of ice, it would look like a service cart. That's... Miss Hall, you put the body in the block of ice and used the lift trolley to move it, didn't you? I never imagined you would be able to deduce so much from just a single sketch. But what if it was just a mistake like you said before? It doesn't prove anything. I agree that alone the sketch is worthless. Once you remove the body, the service cart would revert back to a lift trolley. That's why the lift trolley was left behind in the fountain patio. And without the service cart, there would be no place for you to put your chocolates. The chocolates I gave everyone. Until then, the chocolates had sat on top of the service cart as you gave them away. But when you gave them to us, you took them from your pocket. Ah, now that you mention it, they were a bit melted. But they were still really sweet and tasty. So, why was it necessary to put them in your pocket halfway through? That's because once the body was disposed of, you no longer had a service cart. Ah! Hold it right there. If she put the chocolates in her pocket and left the lift trolley in the patio, then where did the tablecloth go? If she'd been forced to put the chocolates in her pocket, she wouldn't have had time to dispose of the tablecloth. Prosecutor Edgeworth, can you answer that for me? The tablecloth wasn't hidden. It's right in front of us. Do clarify. The tablecloth used to hide the body. Where is it now? Okay. So I think that maybe the fluorescent cloth was like the blue tablecloth all along. But I'm not super sure of where it would have been. Or where it is, like, right now. So it's not inside the fountain. And we're in the patio, and right now... Oh, right. So right now, Delicia has the tablecloth. So none of these answers are what I want to say, so I must be wrong. Let's try... Is she, like, wearing it like an apron or something? I can't see. Let's just go one at a time. If I may be so blunt, it's inside the fountain. Okay, this is wrong. If I may be blunt as well, we have already investigated the fountain. Miles, if I may also be blunt, I think that's wrong. It seems so. Oh yeah, when we first met Kate... Okay, yep. She had something that looked like a tablecloth wrapped around her waist. I see. That must be the key to exposing the truth of her actions. Yeah, seems so. Well then, this time for sure, tell us clearly. The tablecloth used to hide the body. Where is it now? Isn't it obvious? Miss Hall is carrying it with her out in the open. Out in the open? Ah, you mean... Miss Hall. You are wearing the tablecloth around your waist! The block of ice was not encased in a glass case. In other words, the tablecloth was in direct contact with the block of ice. If we have it examined, we will undoubtedly find traces of sherbet on it. Miss Hall, you will turn your tablecloth over to the police at once. There's no need to examine the tablecloths. It is just as you say. I stole the poison from Madame Delicia, and I moved the body. No. I have done terrible things. Madame Delicia, I am so sorry. 1 week ago I took your Megatoxin X bottle. I slipped it into that man's pocket to make it look like suicide. And if they suspected it was murder, the evidence would point to Madame Delicia. Eee! Katie! Kate, what were you thinking? Weren't we always trying to save Mr. Master together? I could not let myself be arrested. Not until I had proven Monsieur Master's innocence. From the very beginning, I had planned to turn myself in once everything was over. But I suppose it is too late to say that now. Kate, why? Why would you go this far? Even for Monsieur Shields, I've caused nothing but trouble. For the past 18 years, I have been a criminal. The IS-7 incident. Don't tell me that you were the true culprit. My greatest crime was stealing the sherbet sculptures for my own selfish interests. When Monsieur Dover died, they were no longer just ordinary sculptures. They had become the final works of the sculptor Monsieur Master so deeply loved. What if they melted before Monsieur Master returned? With that in mind, I couldn't let anyone touch them, not even the police. Even though I knew it was wrong, I moved them to the mansion's freezer. However, I only wanted to preserve Monsieur Dover's art. I did not know his body was hidden among them. So she stole the sculptures without noticing the body. Monsieur Master would never take another person's life. But because of me, the body vanished, and Monsieur Master was found guilty. That kind man. He treated someone like me as family. He meant more to me than anyone else, and yet... Kate. When Monsieur Master was found guilty, I was chased out of this mansion. I was finally able to reclaim the mansion just a few days ago, but... When I saw the sculpture still sleeping away in the freezer, I realized that I was the one who hid Monsieur Dover's body. However, the statute of limitations had already expired. Therefore, I could think of no other way to atone for my sins. It appears I have misunderstood her. It seems she caused this entire incident in order to save Mr. Master. What you thinking about, Mr. Edgeworth? There is one thing that has been bothering me this whole time. Why would Miss Hall plan a murder with such an uncertain method like poison gas? And since we've almost hit an hour of recording time, we're going to have to find out the answer next time. The poison gas mystery hopefully concludes in the next episode of Ace Attorney Investigations Miles Edgeworth, Prosecutor's Path. Episodes 1 through 5 beta.